Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray Joe Biden my soul to keep. If he should die in the next 24 hours, may we not succumb to right-wing powers. I made that up. I just made that up on the fly. It's me freestyling. Me taking a very real and distinct fear and turning it into a cute little nursery rhyme for the kiddos. So I purposely named this stream as a political title. So let's, if you're not here for politics, then that's your own damn fault. We are, oh, there's an ant. Oh dear. If you're not here to talk about, discuss, commiserate, sob uncontrollably about the state we're in and what's going, look, the UK elections already happened. We're looking down the barrel of November 5th, and it's hard to imagine it looking much bleaker. So I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to hear y'all's view on, so my view is pretty clear. And it took me a while. I'm not, since the debate, and it didn't start with the debate. It's not like I was, I mean, nobody was. No, let's be honest, right? Nobody has been super gung-ho about Joe Biden's second term. He was, when he was elected, initially, it was always, he was always seen, or at least this was the line that I remember hearing. If I didn't actually hear it, my brain forced me to hear it, which was that, he was a bridge candidate. He was supposed to be the candidate that gets us to the next generation of more able candidates. And it didn't really work out that way, did it? He sort of changed tack midway through. Again, this is going with my particular point of view on what his presidency was supposed to be versus what it turned out to be. I don't think, like, I certainly was not looking to 2024 once he was elected. I was just so busy being happy that Trump was defeated that I was just like, oh, that's, 4 years. That's a lot of time. Like, neither of these guys are going to make it another 4 years. We're not going to have to work. That's tomorrow people's problem. That's not today people's problem. And that's why credit cards are so evil. They will persuade you that a year is a long time. 18 months is a long time. And now here we are. And short of actually, you know what? I was going to say, like, short of a complete breakdown happening, like the month, like October, Halloween night, let's just say on All Hallows Eve, Biden suffers an unfortunate medical emergency, which renders him fairly unable to maybe not unable to, or not anymore unable to execute his duties, but enough that it becomes clear we need to look for a replacement. If that, at least that would be more decisive. Like, I'm trying to imagine a worse situation than the one that we're in now from my perspective. And I don't know that, like, my mind immediately went to, well, this could have happened 2 months from now. I don't know if that would be worse. Because now we're just sort of we're in this weird cycle right now where all Trump has to do like if I were Trump right now, if I were Trump right now, I would just be avoiding any sort of, I would probably stop campaigning or stop doing anything beyond the boilerplate reading my lines campaigning. I wouldn't do any town halls. I certainly wouldn't agree to any other sort of debates. I would just be coasting on what I have done up until this point and praying that I make it across the finish line without some kind of horrific blunder. And I am aware of the reports coming out about him. I don't know how serious this is, the reports about him potentially paying underage girls to commit sex acts in front of him or something like that. There was something like that going on, but I haven't confirmed the validity of that source. I don't want to comment on it, although I just did. But if I were Trump, that's what I would be doing. Like there's no reason to take a chance at this point. Just wait. Like that saying that your enemy, if dumb enough, right? Like they will dig their own grave and they will lie in it and they will bury themselves. And that's what Biden seems to have done. Whereas Biden is in the unenviable position of, it doesn't even matter now. Like it doesn't even matter now if he has if he were to have another great, if they were to do another debate and he had a great performance, it still would not be enough to brush away the horror that was 2 weeks ago. So he's in this stuff where he's like, it doesn't do him any, in my opinion, right? It doesn't really do him much good to even appear sanguine or certainly when he does that angry thing. I don't feel like that's working anymore, because that's, obviously a sign of dementia is you get angry because you're frustrated with your inability to it's the same reason babies get angry before they can talk, right? Like they know what they want to say. They feel like they have a grasp on the situation, but they can't put it into words, and they become frustrated and angry, and they shake their fist at the sky. I'm not far from doing that myself. So there's really no way for him to dig himself out of this. So this is my long way of saying, like, obviously my opinion is he should step aside. Kamala Harris should be top of the ticket. Now, do I like Kamala Harris? I don't really like Kamala Harris. She is not the liberal that I would like her to be. She's a prosecutor, although, so was, Hillary Clinton was a defense attorney. Kamala Harris is a prosecutor, put people in jail and seemed to revel in her conviction rate for marijuana convictions. She was a fan of keeping people in jail in California. I mean, it was her job, right? But still, I don't like it. So she's not my favorite. And not just that, there's other reasons too. And what I wonder about now is, okay, so what I wonder about is which is worse in the eyes of the voting public in the United States of America. Which is worse? Is it worse to be black, or is it worse to be a woman? That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. All right. And obviously Kamala's got 2 ticks against her from that blinkered point of view. Scott Allison, you're curious to see what my take would be. You got my take. I'm going to guess from your red tie that you don't agree with my take. Happy to talk about it. Deadly Nightshade, hi, greetings. Dan Jordan, hello. Hey, Anna. How are you doing? Bella, hi. Eric Jensen. It was a little bit too late for this, Eric. I mean, come on. Probably, but let's talk about it. Because here's the other thing, right? Although I'm also like having second thoughts about this. Obviously, like there's a bunch of reasons to be terrified of a second Trump presidency. His ability to put even more Supreme Court justices on the court is to pack the court even more is chief among them. But it's almost at this point, it's almost sort of like, does it even matter? The Supreme Court is not a valid entity anymore. The fact that it voted to give the president absolute immunity along party lines, with Sotomayor dissenting and saying that she fears for democracy in her dissent. Does it matter? Like the fact that we have a judge who is dissenting, is that supposed to make us feel better? Like imagine now, just imagine it. Hey, Michael, good to see you again. Stevie, how Trump is still able to run is beyond me. Like, I'm not surprised by anything with that guy anymore. There's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can say. He is Teflon, for all intents and purposes. He cannot seem to do or say anything that will turn his disciples away from him, even directly insulting his disciples. Yes, correct. Trump does love being worshipped. Anna, worse to be a woman. Well, that's what history seems to bear out with Hillary Clinton. The only question that I have there, especially with like using Hillary Clinton as the paradigm, is that Hillary Clinton had so much baggage, like so much perceptual baggage, and so much baggage in the form of her husband and her history in the public eye, and the fact that she was in politics for so long and in the public eye for so long that she had issues that were above and beyond her gender, in my opinion, right? But what's interesting is this feels like it on paper. Like, why would this not be a slam dunk, right? Roe v. Wade was overturned. I'm just gonna say this kind of stuff, right? Every right-thinking person should be enraged by that infringement. And I would think anyone who can have a baby would be incredibly terrified, angry, wanting to take that back, wanting to get a do-over, if at all possible. And if that happened, I mean, if 98%, or if I forget what the number is, there was a number. It wasn't even 98%. It was something like 66% of women vote for Biden or Kamala, then it's over for Trump. The problem is mobilizing those people. Skelly. Honestly, feels like it's too late. The American experiment is careening towards total destruction, and there are no brakes. We just have to accept the crash. We can mitigate the crash, right? Even if that's true, and I'm not saying that it's not true, or that I don't believe that it's true. I talk and think about this all the time. Like it's to the point where I feel like I'm circling back on myself. The idea that uh, that the time that one lives in is special. The idea that things that have not happened before are going to happen in your time because it's your time, and that's of course like the important time. That's when the important things happen. Um, I would have like in the past been like this is a existence bias, right? Um, it's hard for me to do that now, or harder for me to do it now. But what does accepting the crash mean? Like, is there not anything that we could do? Let's say Biden steps aside. Let's say that Kamala Harris is the presumptive nominee. Let's say the vice president on the ticket would have to be. Well, the thing is, I was going to say someone centrist, but Kamala Harris is a centrist. No idea who would be a good vice presidential pick. Not Biden. Not that his pride would allow it. Maybe Hunter. Hunter could get on there. Hunter. It's actually a tragic family story. I have some regret. Oh, let me get this out of here. I have some regrets about doing a Hunter Biden role play because it is pretty tragic. But let's say that she gets on the ticket. She picks some milquetoast vice presidential candidate, gets out there, spends the next. We got to give Biden some time to do a graceful exit. So, 3 or 4 weeks, Biden's team spins this narrative about how Biden's not impaired. He's not. He is. That's a bunch of malarkey. If you believe that, you believe malarkey. So Biden's not impaired, but he realizes that the American people believe that he is impaired. So for the good, he's gonna do what Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't have the guts to do. He's gonna step aside so that the greater political machine can move forward in a way that is more just. Notice I say more just, not just. Just. So give him a little time and his team a little time to put something together, leaving, August, September, and October for some tub thumping, getting out there and really pushing. What could happen then? And then what's going to happen, like, if it's not Biden? If it's not Biden, I think then that Trump is even less likely, and Trump's acolytes are even more less likely to accept the outcome of the election. If it's Kamala Harris, that would sting. That would sting his fragile ego so bad. He would have to make a showing. He'd have to do something. Oh, I'd love to see that happen. Would just love to see him just boil in his own oils. I don't, he is a 3-time club champion. He's a Mar-a-Lago club champion 3 times in a row. You can't take that away from him. You can, but you can't. Maticus. Mobilizing voters. I live in Texas and we have more registered blue voters than red. You wouldn't know it because they don't vote consistently. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, the reason that Biden won was because there was some excitement behind the ticket at that time and also some vitriol and some anger aimed at the other side. And yeah, you're right, Anna. I'm glossing over anti-choice women. I wonder how many of those anti-choice women are anti-choice for the cameras, as it were. Deanne Jordan, I've struggled with bipolar disorder my whole life. In the past 5 years, only made that and PTSD far worse. This year is incredibly challenging. The variables are too great. Need hope. It's waning. I agree. I mean, I'm sorry to hear about bipolar disorder. But it's true. Like those who are subject to, if you're already, if you have a pre-existing condition that makes reality difficult to handle, even at the best of times, then you don't want. This is not, an era that is going to be great for your well-being. Lamb. The issue here in Texas is that the minority has ruled because we hate the cities. The fact Harris County can have their election overturned by the governor who can't stand for the people. Having a little trouble parsing that, Lamb. But it is true that the numbers don't matter if you're not going out and voting. And if you're not being galvanized by something, then you're not going to go out and vote. Deadly Nightshade. It wouldn't surprise you one bit. Now you're responding to something. You're responding to a comment I don't see. I wonder if there's a reason it was not shown to me. That's weird. I wonder what that is. Yeah, I don't think that that's possible. There has to be a line of succession. And the thing is, he said a week ago, I think he said he knows who it's going to be, but he's not going to announce it yet. He doesn't know who it's going to be. It's going to be like he's literally he's auctioning it off. He's letting it be known that it is, the position is there to be bid on. Deanne Jordan. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about Michelle Obama. I mean, it seems like a great person. I don't really know what her political credentials are. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe that's a disadvantage to have political credentials. But it would be nice. We did have someone we could rally behind. We had Bernie, and the DNC harpooned him because he would not toe the line enough. He was a little too liberal for the liberals. Maticus. One big advantage with Kamala is that the right-wing media can't help but be incredibly racist to her, which turns off the middle of the road voters. Excuse me. Yeah, I guess that's probably true, but does that not also further galvanize the extremist right-wing voters? Oh my God. I'm not making any comments. I'm not making any comments about Ivanka. Trump. He does love his family, though. loves his family. Some of his family he loves more than others. That was the other thing in this alleged report, was that apparently these these people were chosen because of their resemblance to certain members of his family. Sounds like bullshit. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd love to see it. It was interesting to hear him respond to like the things he would declassify. He's like, yeah, I would definitely, definitely declassify JFK files. Yeah. When it came to Epstein, he was, well, we don't want to go too far because we don't want to put people in danger. Good morning and greetings. Oh, from Romania. 5 a.m. and sleepless. Wishing you love, peace, and happiness. Same to you. I'm really, I don't want to try and pronounce your name. I'm sure I will really butcher it. But good morning to you. I'm sorry that you are having trouble sleeping. But you picked a good stream to watch to maybe put you back to sleep. Hey, Vitquill. Oh, that's Gustavo Fring. I could not tell from the distance. I thought you might have been someone I knew from before. Sebastian. I will use Sebastian if that's okay. Maticus. You can't win. Yeah, you can't. Very true. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until we see what we see. All right. Oh, look at that. That's a little too close. I don't know if I like that view. I like the bokeh. It's time to just for men the beard though, isn't it? I have a bit of a stuffy nose, which you can tell. This will be for you. Go to sleep, Sebastian. You can do it. You can do it. You can go to sleep. We got our first thumbs down, Sebastian. Go to sleep with the first thumbs down. Let me turn down that noise assist. Wow, that's a huge difference. I'll put it like -6 so you can still get some of the rich timbre of the voice. Yeah, see, here we go. This is Sebastian, this is for you. Sebastian, go to sleep. It's 5 a.m. The sun is coming up. Or maybe it's already up. And you have to work. Or maybe you don't have to work. But either way, actually, maybe you shouldn't go to sleep. Maybe at this point you should just get up, go for a run, get the juices flowing, and just accept that today is a day that you're going to have to face with little to no sleep. Do you have a prescription for Adderall, or maybe just like a bunch of coffee? Oh, thanks, Dan. It happened in the last 9 or 10 years because I look back on older videos and I didn't have it, or just had very little. It makes me sad. So, there you go. Very, very subliminal. Send. I don't want money. I don't want Bitcoin. I want whatever Logan Paul's crypto was. I forget what it was. that was for Sebastian. What else can I do? What else can I get for any of y'all? I'm an organ grinder monkey. I mean, how long can we talk about politics? We could talk about it for a long time. It's depressing, though. So we have to come to some sort of... We have to have some kind of a pact that we come to. Come November 5th. How are we going to help each other? How are we going to get through, assuming the worst? How are we going to get through? First of all, let's just take a quick look since we're doing this. Okay. So Supreme Court justices. So the one good thing we can say is that the liberal Supreme Court justices are generally, young enough that I don't know that another 4 years will be too much to sway. So we have Thomas is 75, Alito 73, Sotomayor 69, Roberts is 69, Kagan 63, Kavanaugh 58, Gorsuch 56, and Jackson 53. So, like the ones that we're looking at there, I mean, you can't do worse than Thomas. So even if he were to retire or something bad were to happen to him or Alito, it's not like you can replace him with someone worse. They're terrible anyway, Dan, of course you can ask. I mean, I can say no. Wait, whose birthday was it? Oh, happy birthday, Sebastian. Brad Pitt's. Just one giant cuddle puddle. One final sundown cuddle puddle. Everybody hooked up to an IV of cocktail of barbiturates. But I mean, I'm trying to look for like light at the end of the tunnel here, and not the death kind of light at the end of the tunnel. It's that the Supreme Court justices don't look like they're likely to be further corrupted in the next 4 years, barring the fact that Trump has immunity and he could just go in and kill Sotomayor and Ketanji Jackson, and then replace them with whoever he wants. He could stack the court because Biden's not going to do it. Although maybe that could be Biden's final act, and he could just sort of blame his own sundowners. He could do it like really late at night. Say that he was going through a spate of sundown. Oh, he doesn't have to blame anything. He can just do it and then claim broad presidential immunity. What a great system we have. But what does still worry me is, at the state level, federal judges, below the Supreme Court in your various districts, right? He's still going to wreak havoc there if given the opportunity. So, Sebastian, you saying you're 29? 29 amazing summers have passed? Yeah, I remember being 29. I remember it very well. It was quite literally like my 29th birthday was 1 week after September 11th. So yeah, I remember that really well. I remember that day my sister was terrified. She's terrified because she lived in Miami. She was worried that they might target Miami next. I tried to reassure her, but everybody was sort of off their rocker collectively for a few weeks. In the wake of nobody, that morning I remember so well, like nobody knew when it was going to end. They're just waiting for like the next report of the next thing. And it really wasn't until the next day that people, relaxed a little bit. But yeah, happy birthday, Sebastian. Cherish it. Your last birthday in your 20s. So I would say it's all downhill from here, but really it was all downhill from like 23, 24. But for what it's worth, it generally for most people it is a slow descent. If that makes you feel any better. And there's only like certain points in your life when you realize like, oh, I can't do, say, slack-armed pull-ups anymore. Or I can't do a cartwheel anymore. Creed Bratton can do a cartwheel. I've seen it. It's beautiful. Creed Bratton does a beautiful cartwheel. That's how I've been staving off the existential dread, is an episode of The Office in the morning while getting ready to go into the office. Deanne Jordan, you hate it that you're older than me? I love it. You're the only person. I went to we had, they have it's essentially Airbnb for pools. So we Airbnb'd a pool this weekend. It was very pleasant, with the family. It was very nice, but fucked up my eyes, skin, got a bit of a sunburn, soreness in the legs. Time is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly some. So who can tell me who that quote was from? Lunchtime is an illusion. Lunchtime doubly so. No Googling. Deanne Jordan, you're 53. Oh my God, you're ancient. That is ancient. Don't type too fast. I don't want you to hurt yourself. I'm 51. I'm going to be 52 very soon. I'm not impressed with your 53. Deadly Nightshade, you worked for a major shipping company, gotten hired 1 month before 9/11. That day, just telling people over and over again, all planes were grounded, no packages moving. Yes, surreal. Yep. Oh, please. Somebody looked it up. It was in fact Douglas Adams. Hey, no, there's no way. You're Scottish? Cody McIvenry? You're Scot. We've got a Scot in the chat. Hello from the Washington, D.C. area. Which, I'd much rather be in Scotland. I'm in for it now. I was commiserating. Like, our ages are... Look, anyone who's alive, if you're alive contemporaneously with any other human being, we're all on the same team. We're on team alive at this moment. So, quibbling over 10 or 20 years just seems really seems human-centric. And I'm not saying that's not an excuse to do. I'll tell you what I've been watching to also like help stave off the dread is Martin Short has been doing his Jiminy Glick character, or he did last week, to replace Jimmy Kimmel. So he was doing the whole show as his Jiminy Glick character, which, you know, he's been doing that character forever, for 30 years. And Martin Short is no spring chicken, but he acts like one. And the thing is, like, it actually made that show entertaining. Like, what happens? That's like what happened back when, was it Joan Rivers? Oh, there was another case back. This is back when late night talk shows were actually a big deal, and you are taking a calculated risk when you go on vacation, because the person that is standing in for you might end up being seen as more funny than you, and you might come back and your job might be at risk. I don't think for a moment that Martin Short would want to dress up as Jiminy Glick every night for any protracted length of time. But he's been funny. He's been funny. He does childish, stupid humor, right? But there's something pure about it that makes me laugh. Even as I groan a little bit, and I laugh. He was interviewing Nick Kroll, who I can't stand. Nick Kroll, born into wealth, sort of, in my opinion, not that talented. Probably had a lot of friends because of that said wealth. But whatever. One of the questions posed to him was, and this was Jiminy Glick posing this question to Nick Kroll, just said something like, I heard that you're a big fan of Woody Allen, not so much his work, his personal life. That was pretty funny. I don't have the delivery of a Jiminy Glick. And I like, there's a lot of stuff about Jiminy Glick that's problematic. So, maybe I should just shut up. But I do think he's funny. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, we're of the same generation, so we were probably, a lot of the same things were popular when we were growing up. There's not, like, sci-fi books don't seem to be in vogue anymore, really. I mean, I guess Dune is having a moment. But when I was, younger, it was reading a lot of sci-fi, and of course that includes Douglas Adams, who had a sort of once in a generation sense of humor. Everything that man wrote was funny. So we're gonna have to deal with what we deal with come November 5th. If it's Kamala Harris, it's Kamala Harris. I'm a never Trumper, right? So whatever it takes, that's where I'm going. That's all I got tonight. But thanks for hanging out for a little while. I'll see y'all later.